We made it to the final part of the childhood trauma iceberg, and ooh boy, these next few layers have some disturbing stuff. I say let's just get into it. First, though, we have 4 new entries to cover before we get into the real meat. The trolley hiding place ad is an ad of a kid with trolley gummy worms, and the worms sing so the kid shushes them because there is a monster that will find them, and it eventually does, and presumably kills the kid and the worms. Star Wars The Clone Wars is an animated Star Wars show which literally has a war crime every single episode. It is ridiculous. And they say it's a kid's show. Originally, this entry was just referring to the brainworm scene, but I decided the entire show is deserving of an entry. The Monster is Real is a PSA about a kid who thinks there is a monster in his closet. Thankfully, there isn't, but what happens next is much, much worse. He finds a gun and accidentally shoots himself. This PSA is about gun safety around kids. Tapeworms are self-explanatory. I mean, they infect your gut. What's more terrifying than that? Anyway, let's get on to Tier 9.
So, I see that you're finally on the safe for work bottom of the abyss. Good luck down there, man. I hear that there's some really weird shit in there. Some of which I can't exactly explain as well.
First off is the alien climbing a building in Russia, which shows a spider-like alien climbing a building. Obviously, this is fake, but to a young viewer, this seems real and they can get scared.
The 3G home video logo refers to a logo in which it starts off with a literal jump scare. Anyways, it starts off with a literal jump scare in the form of a booming static noise. Yeah, I can say that this logo being scary is justified. It's also known as one of the loudest logos ever, as if the THX logo wasn't loud enough. Anatomini is a rejected Lego set made by Stefanix. It consists of an upscale minifigure on the outside, with a large skeletal figure on the inside, and inside said skeleton are the brain and other vital organs made out of Lego. Not many people know why Anatomini was rejected, but if I had to guess, it's because of the skeleton itself looking uncanny. It's Lego, of course, but it looks less like Lego and more like a Five Nights at Freddy's reject.
I'll cover this in part 2 of the Weird Instruments iceberg, so I will keep this short. The Aztec death whistle is an instrument like a skull, and when the player blows on it, it sounds like a person screaming. Here, have a listen. Bert is an animatronic in Murray Bridge, Australia. It is coin operated, and when a person puts in 20 cents, this thing pops out and roars, which can be heard from a kilometer away. Bloody Mary is a legend of a ghost, phantom, or spirit conjured to reveal the future. She is said to appear in a mirror when her name is chanted repeatedly. The Bloody Mary apparition may be benign or malevolent, depending on the historic variations of the legend. Bloody Mary appearances are mostly witnessed in group participation play or by a man who is about to die. The Burger King Pokeball recall ad is a PSA about a recall of a Pokeball of a Burger King campaign, which became fatal as a few kids suffocated by these Pokeballs. The PSA is creepy as is with the origin, but the voice and the black background can be creepy as well. But now, because of Omega Mart parodying this commercial, the comment section of the video is just all memes.
The Cretinodus gangus is a species of arctine moth found in Southeast Asia and Australia. Now you might be thinking to yourself, what? A moth? Please, how can that be scary, Dolph? They're just fluffy little babies. Well, imagine this. Oh look, a moth is on your wall. It's kinda cute. You walk up to it and oh, what do you know? 4 fucking tentacle dick things are poking out of its ass! How do you think that's fucking cute in any way? Those things on its ass, my friend, are called cormatas, which are scent organs that produce a pheromone called hydroxydenidal. But even then, I would never touch this rat of a fucking moth.
Okay. Dead meat moving is referring to a phenomena of meat having muscle spasms resulting in the almost dead nervous system. This is mainly found in fish, but can be found in other meat as well.
Diesel 10 is the main antagonist of Thomas and the Magic Railroad, and, in my opinion, the best part of the film, period. He is a sadistic and laughably evil diesel engine hellbent on destroying Lady and every other steam engine. The chaos he's capable of when using Pinchy can be genuinely terrifying when you think about the stuff that happens in the Thomas series. Most of the destruction throughout the series, while looking cool, all happen by accidents. Just simple mistakes from engines that slip up. Diesel 10, on the other hand, deliberately destroys anything in his path. Too bad he grew soft after the movie, though. I'm looking at you, CGI series. You're looking a bit sus.
Dolphin Muzzle is a video of a guy showing their dolphin mask. The mask is uncanny and freaky to look at, so it makes sense why it's on the iceberg. Everywhere at the End of Time is an album by The Caretaker, which depicts the stages of dementia. The first stage is normal, but some things are off. The second stage is more depressing as it is clear something is wrong. By the third stage, the reverbs and the abrupt endings represent memories that become more disturbed, isolated, broken, and distant. By the fourth and fifth stages, which are called the post-awareness stages, all structure in the songs are gone and the memories become more fluid through rupture and entanglement. The sixth stage is without description, mainly focusing on ambience before the final 6 minutes of choir, before a full minute of silence symbolizing death.
Exploding whale carcasses is another phenomenon relating to dead animals, this time with the corpse being mutilated further. Fun! In this case, when the whale dies, it produces gases like methane within the body as it rots. If the gas can't find a way out of the corpse, it builds up inside the whale and causes it to bloat up and eventually explode, launching its blood and guts at 45 miles per hour and sending them 160 feet away or further. If you're standing too close to a carcass when it explodes, it's safe to say that the whale is taking you with him to hell as a punishment. The Hell Valley Sky Trees refers to a strange Easter egg featured in the Super Mario Galaxy 2 level, Shiverburn Galaxy. If you enter first-person mode and look up towards the skybox, you can find 3 tall figures standing over the canyon's edge in the sky. Their name comes from their texture file name, which was dug up by Gur Tacos. The largest of these trees was over 100 times Mario's height.
Hellraiser is a supernatural horror series from 1987 about a puzzle box that summons these Cenobites and their leader Pinhead, who wants to take over the world. Jesus stigmata paintings are paintings of Jesus before being crucified, so you can see the holes in his hands, which can be scary to some children who don't know who Jesus is, and them seeing a man with holes in his hands. Junji Ito is a manga artist who has some very disturbing art, often considered to be the scariest and most beautiful manga artist ever. The Krakatoa audio is the supposed audio of the Krakatoa eruption. Ear rape warning. Even though this audio may be dubbed fake, it can be scary to some children. The Langoliers is a mini-series about the Stephen King novel of the same name. It's about these flying meatballs that eat reality or some shit. I'll say they look whack as fuck. Really bad CGI, my god. Lost media are pieces of media that are lost to time, or get immediately found when someone brings it up. There is no in between. That besides, there is some disturbing lost media, like recorded death tapes and murder, that have been thankfully lost. Also, the fact this media is lost can be creepy to some kids. Also, this thing has spawned the lost episode genre, so there's that. Man After Man is a speculative zoology book by Dougal Dixon about humanity's future. But unlike All Tomorrows, this is more of a biology textbook than a sci-fi story. And yeah, some of the human species are gross as fuck, or just monkeys. This book is basically Reject Humanity, Return to Monkey, the book. Well, besides these abominations, but you know what I mean. Like Bert the Bunyip, Moby Dick at Pleasure Island is another animatronic submerged underwater that people are scared of. I wonder if there's a phobia for this. Foreshadowing. But anyways, the size of the animatronic can be creepy to some.
The Nowhere King is the main antagonist of the Netflix animated series Centaur World. He's a monstrous, spider-like entity that wants to take over the human world and Centaur World. He's also got a freaky lullaby as his main theme, which is heard at least 3 or 4 times throughout the series. Polybius is an urban legend about an arcade cabinet from the 80s. It was part of a government-run, crowdsourced psychology experiment during 1981. The gameplay has allegedly produced psychoactive and addictive effects on those who played it.
During the Devonian through Permian, there were high amounts of oxygen, causing many insects to grow large, like a huge-ass dragonfly as big as your head, a giant millipede that could have your kid for breakfast, and a scorpion as big as cats. Racist Mario is a video of Mario in a Mario Kart game on a murder spree, killing pretty much every non-Mario character on the track. And apparently Yoshi, Donkey Kong, and Luigi as well. At the end, he is killed by Kratos from God of War. Revenge of the Mushroom Kingdom is a sprite animation showing Mario getting killed and the Mushroom Kingdom having revenge on Bowser with blood everywhere. But it is revealed that the Koopas who were innocent and weren't killed Mario, so Luigi went back in time to save Mario, which in turn killed Luigi, but Luigi told Mario it was Wirt, so the same thing happens again, but with Wirt's army. Wow, 3 Mario entries in a row, but thankfully this one is canon. The River Twig's Bed is music from Super Paper Mario, which in itself has some disturbing scenes, but this music has some disturbing sounds. Actually, I used it in the previous part, so if you rewatch that part, look out for that.
Roly Poly's no Nanakarobi Yauki is an edutainment game made by Osamu Sato. See, I told you guys! Like LSD Dream Emulator, Roly Poly is portrayed through his trademarked, trippy, colorful art style. This time with unnerving yet artsy looking animal characters such as Banatan the monkey, Pon the dog, Chew the fox, and Las Vegas Akiko, the drag queen peacock. The game uses the phrase, "the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog," both in its main theme and menu screen to teach players about the alphabet with a skit that pertains to an idiom, such as time flies. Quite a vocal minority have described this game as a nightmarish fever dream of sorts.
Ruler of Everything is referring to the song by Tally Hall, which in its music video can be creepy to some. Also, some of the lyrics are nonsensical, like, "Do you like how my face dissolves into chalk?" The Rusty Lake series is a mystery point-and-click escape room series available on iOS, Android, Steam, and the web. The games are creepy with disturbing visuals and ideas. Check them out if you have time, they're good.
Seaman is a 1999 simulation game for the Sega Dreamcast in which you raise bizarre and uncanny creatures that have human faces. These creatures are also capable of mating on screen with the appendages on their heads.
Slendy Tubbies is a parody of Teletubbies and Slenderman. Enough said. Also, Buff Tinky Winky!
Hell sound from Siberia diggings is referring to a recording that was allegedly taken from a borehole in Siberia that dug so deep that it broke into hell, which sparked the well to hell urban legend. This was later debunked to be from the 1972 movie Bear in Blood. Regardless whether or not it's real, just listen to this.
Submechanophobia is what I was referring to in the Bert the Bunyip and Moby Dick entries. Submechanophobia is the fear of submerged man-made objects, but mainly animatronics. I mean, this shit is scary. The Future is Wild is a Spec Zoo documentary on what life would look like in the future. So there's actual flying fish called flish, these giant land mollusks that have the same intelligence as humans, and rodents that are basically slaves towards these spire things. Yeah, the show is on crack. The walrus from Pingu is the most iconic scene from Pingu. In the episode Pingu's Nightmare, Pingu has a dream where my cousin tortures him and does some stuff I don't know. This episode is banned because my cousin was being too mean to Pingu. In 1961, the 7094 is the first computer to sing. It sang the 1892 song Daisy Bell. Its singing is either said to be disturbing or cute. I'll let you decide.
It won't be a stylish marriage. I can't afford a carriage. But you look sweet upon the seat of a bicycle built for two.
In the Family Guy episode, When You Wish Upon a Weinstein, there's a cutaway ad where Tony Robbins fucking roars Peter Griffin. I don't know, man.
Wallace's were-rabbit transformation refers to the scene in Wallace and Gromit: The Curse of the Were-Rabbit, in which Wallace is suddenly ambushed by Victor Quartermain, who plans to teach him a lesson out of jealousy for Lady Toddington's affection. However, as Wallace falls into the light of a full moon, the effects of the mind manipulation omatic accident kick in, as Wallace counters Victor's punch through instinct before painfully transforming into the were-rabbit itself. Yeah, it's basically a kid-friendly version of a werewolf transformation, but the fact that it's stop motion, complete with close-ups, isn't helping, you know?
The Valve logo shows a man with a valve on his head as it turns. Yeah, this is creepy. I mean, imagine wanting to play Portal 2, and this thing pops up. Ugh. You Cannot Beat Us is an Australian commercial, which I assume is trying to promote the NES. It shows this man saying, "You cannot beat us," while Nintendo characters like the Duck Hunt Dog and Bowser say it as well. No wonder the Aussies weren't interested in the console when it first came out. And that finishes off Tier 9. Only one tier to go, let's get to this! To start, the end of this journey is 4chan. Self-explanatory. There's a bunch of fucked up stuff on the site. The Africare shoeboxes ad is one of the most depressing ads ever. It shows footage from the 1994 Rwandan genocide. By the end of the PSA, it tells the viewer that they need shoeboxes because they are running out of coffins. It is regarded as the most disturbing PSA ever. Blue Waffles is the most famous shock image. It shows a vagina with a fictional disease called Blue Waffles. Like I said, it's fictional, so if you are unfortunate enough to have seen it, you will be relieved that the STD is fake.
Bob the Frog and Burp is an obscure animated short made by Darren D. Liner in 1993. This short was made to combine stop-motion environments with 3D animation. In this short, the titular Bob takes a stroll down an otherworldly dark forest and looks at the camera for quite some time with the face of the boogeyman under your bed. Then a fly appears as it soars around Bob before he chomps it with his sharp teeth rather than using his tongue. Bob then walks away as he burps, the lights on his back glowing. I'll admit, I was a bit creeped out when I saw this on my Little Bites DVD. To talk about that for a bit, Little Bites always holds a special place in my childhood because it showed me what you can do with animation as a whole. It was a collection of animated art pieces compiled into one DVD feature, and Bob the Frog was no exception to this. Props to Darren and the rest of these animators, man. I wonder where they are now. The Candiru fish is a species of parasitic freshwater catfish in the Trichomycteridae family. It is found in countries such as Bolivia, Brazil, Colombia, Ecuador, and Peru. There are plenty of alleged attacks on humans that date back as far as 1829. The most disturbing aspect of these attacks is that the Candiru fish, swims into and lodges itself in one's sausage. Yeah, that jokin' Salmon Max wasn't playing around.
It seems Chester A. Arthur and the Pope were kayaking down the Amazon one day. Suddenly, a tiny Candiru fish swims up the Pope's and lodges itself in his. Arthur grabs the Pope's pliers and swelled up like a melon. And the Pope says, "Thanks! Last time that happened, McKinley wanted to." No, wait. I think I told it wrong.
Crossed is an animated gore comic from 2008. It is about how a brutal infection makes people completely violent. The comic includes several bloody, grotesque moments. Quite disturbing and controversial for the time. Earbooker Productions is a logo that can be found at the end of each episode of The Weird Al Show. It is here because a kid caused seizures. End Day is a documentary about 5 hypothetical disasters that might happen, such as volcanoes, meteors, tsunami, and a pandemic. The 5th and final one is notable enough to have its own entry, so look out for that.
Farewell to Arms is an episode of the obscure and underrated show Bump in the Night. In this episode, Molly Cottle becomes power hungry after trying out what seems to be a monkey arm that Bumpy had stored away. This leads to her replacing her own body with a blow dryer from the Cutes, Destructo's legs, and a tin can with their dress pattern. Eventually, she plans on killing Mr. Bumpy and using his head as her own. It doesn't help that she literally tears her own head off and flashes it at Bumpy and the camera to an extent, Medusa style.
Don't you see? I want your head, Mr. Bumpy! Give it to me!
Fetuses are the unborn stages of a baby. They reside in the mother's womb before birth. When unborn, a normal fetus is very small and lacks human characteristics. Gunselman Sullivan Marshall Productions logo shows a man falling from a house screaming. To kids, this can be scary, but to more older audiences, this is more comedic. Existential Crisis Example Number 1. Heat Death of the Universe. The heat death of the universe is a hypothesis of the ultimate fate of the universe, which suggests the universe would evolve into a state of no thermodynamic free energy and would therefore be unable to sustain processes that increase entropy. Heat death does not imply any particular absolute temperature. It only requires that temperature differences or other processes may no longer be exploited to perform work. In the language of physics, this is when the universe reaches a thermodynamic equilibrium. And then there's the Howard the Duck movie. Why does this exist? Existential Crisis Number 2, Human Extinction. Yeah, I mean self-explanatory in the name itself. I won't go deeper than this. I didn't mean to shoot daddy's gun is enough for PSA about gun safety. It shows this children's drawing animatic thing about this kid who accidentally shot his brother with his dad's gun. Lights Out is the short film about a woman who is preparing to go to bed, but she sees a strange figure that is only present in darkness. Near the end, it shows the woman in bed seeing this creature turning off a lamp. Loss of loved ones are self-explanatory. Losing a loved one can be traumatic. Momo is a creature that resembles a girl with a wide smile with large bulbous eyes. was originally made by a Japanese special effects company, but is now became a case of mass hysteria with a commit not live challenge. PETA is an animal torture group that poses as an animal rights group that has been known for things like taking a family dog off a porch and then euthanizing it. Homotopia pithiocampa is a caterpillar that gives any mammal an allergic reaction if one touches it. Yeah, don't touch these dangerous spike pickles.
Ren seeks help. Oh boy, this one. This is the most infamous episode from the adult party cartoon era of Ren and Stimpy, and there was already a scene in which Ren used some saw and wood to pretend to get saucy with Stimpy. But what this episode lacks in sexual jokes and scenes, it makes up for with disturbing and dark material. In this episode, Ren goes to a therapist who happens to be Mr. Horse. This is because there was an ambiguous incident that made Stimpy cry. He proceeds to explain his life from the beginning of his birth, no, his literal birth, and how he was always insane and enjoyed torturing small animals ever since he felt the pain during his entrance into life itself. Mr. Enter made a very good video explaining this episode in great detail, so watch it if you have the chance.
Existential crisis number 3. Size comparison of the universe. We are small. I mean, fucking small. How small? Okay, let's say the Earth is a watermelon seed. The sun would be the watermelon. Not too bad yet. Ooh boy, let's say the solar system is the size of a strawberry. The Milky Way is the size of the United States. Which is crazy, and then the universe is more than 1,000,000 times bigger than the Milky Way at that, so we are fucking small.
Shoebill storks, also known as Balaniceps rex, is a carnivorous, 5-foot-tall stork that resides in large swamps within South Sudan and Zambia. It has a wingspan of 8 feet and relies on the brute force of their beak to hunt down prey. The main reason why they're on this list is because of 1. Their intimidating front-facing gaze that looks disappointed, and 2. They sound like a literal war zone. Despite everything, however, shoebills are only gentle towards human beings, but they're also great meme material.
You know, back in the End Days entry, I mentioned the final disaster is worth its own entry. This is it. The strangelet is a hypothetical particle that when it touches any other type of matter, it could turn every matter it touches into more strangelets. So if one hits the Earth, all the atoms on Earth will turn into strangelets. If it hits the sun, it will turn into a strange star, which is more dimmer, so the Earth would freeze. The scary thing is, we wouldn't see them coming. And some people think they may be what dark matter is, but again, it will be very unlikely for them to hit the solar system, so we are fine. Oh, Kurzgesagt has a good video on this, so check the link in the description. Terrare was a French showman with some unusual eating habits. He ate live animals such as cats, dogs, snakes, lizards, and an eel whole. He once served the French army as a messenger by eating a box with a secret message, but failed because he couldn't speak German. After that, he was at a hospital where he literally ate corpses and drank blood of those who were bloodletting. Also, he ate a fucking 14-month-old toddler. What the actual hell? Taxidermy is the process of preserving an animal's body via mounting or stuffing, normally for display or study. And some instances are, well, creepy. There's a reason why r/bad taxidermy exists. Butcher is a lost Nickelodeon short that is supposedly used real bones as puppets, though the confirmation of this is disputed. The Chuckle Hut is a video of this weird CGI model moving its jaw. Very uncanny valley. Oh, by the way, this goes on for a whole minute. Existential crisis number 4. The meaning of life. We don't know why we exist. And what's our purpose? Is there a God, or is it just space? Is there alien life, or are we alone? These types of questions can give a person existential dread. Existential crisis number 5. Timeline of the future. This kinda ties back in with the heat death and human extinction. The fact that we don't know much about our future is kinda terrifying. The sun will expand and engulf the earth and then die soon. All the stars will die and only black holes are left, and eventually themselves even die. Just the uncertainty and the fact that everything is gonna die is frightening. Travis the chimp is a chimpanzee who mauled a woman, which has a disturbing 911 call. Obviously, I won't show this, but it is terrifying. The Vaporeon copypasta is infamous 4chan post about, well, the human breeding capability of Vaporeon. Yeah, this has ruined Vaporeon as a Pokemon for some people.
You just got coconut mauled. Share this with all your friends to totally coconut maul them.
Now we have possibly the most terrifying sound ever. The Windows XP shutdown sound.
Yawning pelicans refers to, well, the weird thing pelicans do when they yawn. While yawning, their neck bends upwards as they open their mouth wide to flip their bill pouch out. Unfortunately, this makes them look like they are literally flipping their bodies inside out. Apparently this is done so that they can cool down since they can't even sweat.
I'm sorry, John is a subreddit for Lovecraftian Eldritch Garfields. The art of this subreddit is disturbing, and I love it. Mope Mope is a video of these cutesy dancing flowers, but quickly turns into a trypophobe's nightmare with a bunch of mouths and bloodish red background things. Oh, the music in the video is popular in Geometry Dash, so that's cool. Now, the final and possibly the worst entry on the iceberg, with disturbing movie scenes, scary YouTube animations, shock images and videos, real-life tragedy, and existentialism. What could be worse than all of that? The game. You just lost it. And that does it for the childhood trauma iceberg. You may notice I skipped a bunch of entries, mostly because 1. Raymundo already covered it. 2. Too lighthearted or well-known. Or 3. Too risky to talk about. Also, I skipped tier 11 for reason number 3. Also, feel free to give your own suggestions as well. Also, thank you for the support. I appreciate it. I don't know if I will do large icebergs like this again. I mainly chose this one because it contains a variety of subjects. Later on, I will choose more unique icebergs. Also, I may or may not make an ultimate version with all the parts together, so maybe? I don't know. Anyways, please check the description and also like and sub. It means a lot to me. And I wish you a very good day.
You just got coconut mauled. Share this with all your friends to totally coconut maul them.